Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod, here to talk about Deal or No Deal Island, Season 2, Episode 7, titled Snakes in the Grass. Last week on Dondi, the players took leaps of faith, and after Letty held the high-value case for the second straight week, she picked CK to face the banker. Little did she know that a scorned CK would call out Letty, Philip, Seychelle, and Will during her game of Deal or No Deal, and we left off mid-tiff between Philip and CK at the temple. Before I dive in, I put a link in the description to my playlist to catch up on my previous recaps. If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. As always, my videos aren't meant to replace the original material, so if you missed the episode, I highly encourage you to seek it out on Peacock to enjoy and form your own opinion. But let's dive into it. We pick back up where we left off, where CK is being offered $925,000 and a 50-50 chance of going home. CK and Philip are still fighting about Harriet Tubman. Lachelle comments that Philip pulled Harriet Tubman out of her grave. Lachelle's loving every minute of this fight. Letty tries to deny the collusion allegations, but Parvati calls Letty out for acting holier than thou. Philip calls CK a cheater, and we get back to the game. CK decides to take the offer to avoid leaving the group with $250. CK reveals she made a good deal. She had the $250 in her case and adds $925,000 to the pot, bringing it to $6,625,001. CK is also the first person to ever beat the banker twice. CK decides to eliminate Seychelle. On the way out, Seychelle calls CK a cheat with a flat ass, so we have to say goodbye to Seychelle, who had a really strong premiere, being really outspoken against Luke, but then she became a bit quiet, having whole episodes where she was kind of in the background, which is a shame because she has a really big personality. Her whole story became her resentment against the family alliance until she was just sniped out of the game here. At least she got a one-liner on the way out calling CK flat-assed. She was an expert confessionalist, and I'd love to see her on TV again. It blows my mind that she and I are from the same town, which was a constant reminder of how boring I am and would never be cast on a reality show. Back at the pods, Parvati praises CK for her big move at the temple. CK effed up the whole anti-family alliance with that, but Philip is still dedicated to taking out the family. The next day, David's playing with Dixon. He asks Dixon if Dixon feels he would be good at Australian Survivor, the show he won. David is committed to keeping his secret to the end, and Will, suspecting that David is a reality TV winner, is threatening to David. Will, Philip, and Letty strategize and decide to play the challenge with the goal of the family being eligible for elimination. Enter Parvati, who approaches Philip a bit confrontationally to talk, but he dismisses her. He says she must think he's wearing his dumbass bitch shirt. They head to their challenge, where Joe is wearing a Rorschach test on his shirt that is very distracting. As winner and loser from last week, Letty and CK will be captains in this team's challenge. They do schoolyard pick. Letty chooses Philip, Parvati, and Lachelle, and CK chooses David, Dixon, and Dr. Will, with the clear first impression that Dr. Will is going to throw this challenge. In their challenge, the team captains will be given a ledger that tells them the location and values of cases scattered around the beach. They'll send players from their team to find the 9 cases. One player at a time will retrieve a case. Only the team captains know what values are where. When one team brings back 6 of the 9 cases, the game is over, and the team with the highest combined value will win and be safe. Joe fills them in on a final twist. The players don't have to obey the team captain. They can go rogue because one of the cases contains $0 and safety for only the team captain. They get started with team captains playing honest to start and instructing their players to get high value cases. Letty is trying to find out if Will is still down to go with their plan to throw the challenge, and Will is still trying to throw the challenge, but doesn't want CK to get immunity because it'll ruin their plan. CK finds her mark, telling Dixon to go for the case that contains her safety. Everyone's hauling ass except Dr. Will, and when Philip and Letty confirm they're going with the plan, she decides they can't get the $0 case on their team. Letty sends out her hero player Lachelle to race against Dixon, but Dixon comes back first, locking in CK's team with 6 cases, and Letty's team with only 5. They reveal their cases. All 5 of Letty's teams have money values. They lock in $10 million. CK's team opens their 6 cases, ultimately revealing that CK sent Dixon to successfully get the $0 and safety. Their team totaled $8.75 million, so Letty's team, including Queen Parvati, will be safe. CK also has safety, about which Dr. Will calls her disgusting. And Letty is the overall winner for the 3rd week in a row. She'll decide which of the 3 at-risk players, David, Will, and Dixon, will face the banker. Back at the pods, Dixon wants David to face the banker because he feels he'll be safe if David wins. Will tries to make a deal with David, both handshaking to agree to eliminate Dixon at the temple. David approaches Letty and also tells her that if he beats the banker, he'll send Dixon home. Parvati is annoyed with David for volunteering and feels like Dr. Will should face the banker instead, so David doesn't make her a widow mother to their alliance. They head to the temple, where Joe's outfit is almost good with a sleek gray suit, but frumpy white loafers. Letty chooses David to face the banker with $2.5 million, the highest value case on the board. David chooses case number 7, saying that's the number he wanted to be in sports as a kid. He's one who gives reasoning for his picks, but they're all jokes. Jokes, jokes, jokes. Like he had to punch 2 kangaroos and number 9 is looking at him funny. After the first round, the banker makes him an offer for $200,000 and a 63% chance of going home. Terrible offer, Miss Banker. banker. He says no deal and plays on. The banker calls David naughty and says she wants to spank David. She offers him $650,000 and a 50-50 chance of staying, a much better offer that he doesn't take. David ends up stuck with $250 and $2 million on the board, a similar situation as earlier in this episode. The banker calls and cracks Joe the up on the phone and offers David $999,999, saying it's for Luke. David takes this offer, bringing the pot to $7,624,000. Luke's dollar no longer lives on. Rest in peace. David reveals his case contained $250, meaning he made a good deal and has to eliminate Will or Dixon. David reveals to the group that he made a deal with Dr. Will, but pivots to saying that he's Dixon's $5 million bodyguard and eliminates Dr. Will. On the way out, Will announces that this is his official retirement from reality television. So we lose Dr. Will here, whose appearance on the show really surprised me, given the huge gap from being on TV. From interviews, it seems like he genuinely thinks Dondi is the best reality show ever made. I don't see it, Doc. Despite having alleged respect for the game, he shows up a few episodes in and doesn't really seem focused on playing the game well, instead opting to just create chaos and make good TV, playing really messily for no reason. I still think he was just a production plant, and I don't buy that he's really retired. I fully expect him to be on Traitors eventually. There's no good reason for him not to do that after this, and I want to see it. This episode was much better than last week's. Like I said last week, the fight was so over by the time of the to be continued. Seychelle was eliminated. This was all in the first 7 minutes of the episode. It did not need to be a cliffhanger and could have been edited down to one episode last week. Seychelle is such a big character, not giving her that send-off at the end of the episode was kind of a slap in the face. This challenge was a lot of fun. I liked that the captains could trick the other players, which is what all of these challenges should be like, but some flop. The show really props Letty up as a comp beast, winning 3 in a row, but the captains being picked by production really felt like a gratuitous handout. David played this round really well. He defended his game by eliminating the player who was suspecting him the most and could have destroyed his game. The final offer of $999,999 seemed like a real hint to David from the producers to take the deal, which I think he very obviously noticed. I'm interested to see how Philip and Letty will come out of facing the entire house. I still think Philip is a winner contender, so I'm watching that story next week. But that's all I have to say about this episode. Let me know in the comments, what did you think of this episode and Seychelle and Will's departures? Did you feel double the closure? If you liked the video, consider liking and subscribing. I'll be back next week with more Dondi. I'm also recapping the Challenge All-Stars 5, The Traitors Season 3, and soon to be Survivor 48. Until next time, you know where to find me. Bye!